Yate Namaha. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 4, Verse 14. How the Lord works. After mentioning in the 13th chapter that creating all these beings with their classification according to their qualities and actions, though God is considered as the creator, the agent of creation, yet he says, I am a non-agent. I am not the creator. What's this? Yes, it's spoken from two different standpoints. From the standpoint of relative existence, whenever we see something, we want to know who's the maker, who's the creator, who's the architect, who has designed this. Well, that's the Lord. And from the highest standpoint, He is not a creator, He is not an architect, He is not a maker, He is not anything. What is it? He is pure consciousness, without name, without form, without action. This point is being now elaborated in the 14th verse. Karma does not taint me. For me, there is no hankering for the results of karma. One who knows me does not become bound by karma. It's so elegant, so simple. It's a simple truth. Namam karmani limpanti name karma phale spriha iti mam yo bijanati karma bhirna sabhadyate. Beautiful. Namam karmani limpati. Karma does not taint me. And yet, there is no hankering, there is no spriya, there is no kind of desire for the results of that karma. This is how the Lord works, amazingly. But isn't that God the ever active providence? Yes, you can say whatever you have to say. What happens is, we are so bound with a sense of individuality, a sense of ego, that we just cannot comprehend how is it to work without the sense of I and mine and without the hankering for results. And we know what happens. You have a big ego, you have big problems. You have a small ego, you have small problems. And all our problems are kind of concentrated in one point. When you take a convex lens and you kind of hold it against with the sun in the background, all the rays converge to a point. So all our actions and thoughts and feelings and everything as if they converge to a point. And this makes us limited. God does not have that point. So, God is everywhere. And that's what we say, oh, God is everywhere. When we say he or she is everywhere, what does it mean? It means that intervening, you can say, sense of I and mine is not converging God's divinity in one spot only. God is everywhere. So when we know how troublesome life is, actually life is not troublesome. Life is, everybody says life is tough and life is suffering. Nobody says life is kind of easy going, happy go lucky. Then you must understand this guy does not have responsibilities at all. When you chuck away all responsibilities, you can live on other people's, you can say, gratis. You can live on other people's dole. You can live on other people's charity. You can live on other people's pity. You can live on other people's compassion and love. Yes, you can be manipulative also. But the moment you take up responsibilities, you begin working, all the troubles commence. They say, we all know, when we were all children, we were so happy. Really, it was the most happiest time. Why? Because the sense of ego hadn't yet crystallized. And as you become an adolescent, you become a teenager, and as you keep on growing and growing and growing, that ego also keeps on growing and growing and growing and growing, and it brings endless trouble. Even if you are well off economically or whatever, there's always something uncertain that's happening, going to happen, and you get worried. To understand this, when we are asleep, or we have actions being done subconsciously without the feeling of I. Are you now pumping your heart? It's you who are pumping. The heart pumps by itself. Oh, well, you started the whole thing millions of years ago. It doesn't matter. Is your lungs functioning? Is your blood circulating? You have taken it for granted. Yeah. You don't work with the sense of I. You're running this whole body without the sense of I, and it runs beautifully. It's only when on the conscious plane where you're conscious of this I and mine and likes and dislikes, you put all the stuff through your mouth, and then things go wrong. And on the highest plane, the superconscious plane, there is no sense of I and my. So you have your subconsciousness, the work that nature does, your body does, it's all without the sense of I. In the superconsciousness, there is no I. So this rascal is only a thin film between these two oceans. And that's the idea that somehow we are kind of like flotsam and jetsam between these two oceans of non-I and non-I, without the sense of agency, without the sense of this is mine, without the sense of experience. No. So this world of I and mine, which has gobbled up the whole of human society, and which whole human society worships and prays and tries to increase it, and there are some who decrease it, deflate it. This is the world of action, the world of I and my. And we just cannot get out of this small, limited circle. So when we are trapped in this, we think everyone has to be like that. So if you can say, if I am suffering, you say everyone suffers. So you're caught telling a lie? Well, everybody tells a lie. Huh? There it is. We try to justify things. Everybody does it. I do it. Oh, really? Very sure. Rationalization. Taking, you can say, shelter under sophistry. That's why we will never be able to understand when the Lord says that actions do not taint me, nor is there any hankering for the results of action. Is God then working subconsciously? Oh, no, superconsciously, where there is no sense of I. But then work, the Lord is not speaking about non-work here. I work. I'm saying if I don't work, later on I'll say the whole world will die. Die. So then the next line is saying, so the Lord, know the Lord to be a creator, and yet from the highest standpoint, there is no creation. So the act of creation also is absent. As a result, saying, I'm not an agent of this creation. In the previous verse, say, know me to be a non-agent and changeless. There it is. What is that state? It is that pure consciousness, the foundational principle of our lives and everything in it. The moment we say Lord or God or Krishna or Rama, first thing that happens is you have the idea of a human form. That's because we are human. And suppose a tiger prays to Rama, he will see Rama as a big tiger. So our ideas about God are just human. And as we are human, we know how often we make mistakes and we fall into errors and we are delusive. But we think that the Lord has to conform to my ideas. So the Lord is looking at the whole thing from that standpoint. Lord's standpoint. We are not now philosophers. We are just simple. We are just listening to the Lord speak. And we are wondering, wow, how come is this? That is why in the next line he says, one who knows me thus does not become bound by actions. Itimam yo bijanati karma birna sabadhyati. One who knows me as the self. The commentator says, well, one who knows me how? Thus, as a non-agent, as the self, as the very self. What is the self, self? It is that Atman. What is it? Atman is just a word, much better. It's pure consciousness. What is pure and what is impure? It's a kind of a limpid state. It's just light and love and hyper consciousness. This is what impels everything. It is consciousness that impels, like the Upanishads also speak, everything is impelled by consciousness. This is that pure consciousness that is within each one of us, which is the Lord itself. If we do not understand this, that's why he says, one who knows me thus does not become bound by actions. Karma bhir nasabadhyati, does not be bound by. What is the result of actions? Karma. Well, re-embodiment, and then re-embodiment and a host of troubles. The moment you start becoming embodied over and over again, your embodiment brings a host of troubles. It is a stage of bondage. That is why he says, one who knows me does, as a self, as a non-agent, as the one who is free from all the taints of karma, becomes free. So because we are tainted by action, the Lord also is tainted by action. Why? Because the Lord has created all this. When we do something, we look around and we are kind of internally very pleased. I did that. Even if nobody else praises you or blames you, whatever, internally you praise yourself. You feel good. Or if the thing is bad, you berate yourself. So this whole thing is, you can say, standing upon a sense of I, which itself is very flimsy. It's very limited. I do not know what's actually behind me. And I have to turn my head. And the first thing I look at it and then I see it. I project this I everywhere. And this has been the result of bondage. I keep on projecting my I, my sense of individuality, identity everywhere. On the church, on a temple, on a mosque, on a book, on the pulpit, on everything, on my community and on myself, yeah. I've been on my profession, on my vocation, on my money, on my house. I keep on projecting this sense of I. So the Lord doesn't project the sense of I. And as you said, this I is nothing but a flimsy, you can say, entity. It's more like a non-entity rather. Something which does not exist has come about and playing this role of the appropriator. This is mine. That is not the case with the Lord. So anyone who knows the Lord as this, as pure consciousness, as we say, you can super consciousness, as the foundation of the whole world, this person becomes free. Actions do not touch it. So there is no re-embodiment. This question of re-embodiment, it's not mentioned here in the verse, but the commentators mention it. As commentators say, to be the originators of the body, etc. Karma is. So karma, taken in its widest sense, has to bring in not only action and reaction. What you sow, so shall you reap. It covers the whole of life and the whole series of life. It's a constant progression or digression, whatever you like. So it is not just for 1 minute or 10 minutes. No, it is there. You have kept on planting seeds and they are germinating. And we keep on planting more seeds and they keep on germinating. And those seeds that germinate, they contribute their own seeds into it and there. So we have planted a tree and it has now become a forest. And we are wading through those forests. The next verse is 15. The Lord clarifies this a little more. Having known thus, duties were performed even by the ancient seekers of liberation. Therefore, you undertake karma itself, as was performed earlier by the ancient ones. This is the path. Is it a new path? The Lord says, no. these karmas were performed even in the ancient days by the people who lived during that time. So this is not a novel path. This is a well-tested path, a well-tested method. Because people like Janaka, etc., Ashwapati, all these, they had practiced this in earlier ages. And this is what they had taught to subsequent generations. So this path was trodden by the sages and saints. So here he's saying, having known thus, karma was performed even by the ancient seekers of liberation. So they were seekers of liberation. It's not just to acquire more name or fame and all these things. That was not that. The goal of karma, what's the goal of karma? It is liberation. It is not self-aggrandizement. Love me, love my dog. You love me? Yeah. Now love my dog also. You don't love my dog? Sorry. Please, go somewhere else. That was not the result or you can say, the attitude of a karma yogi. I will perform work like the ancient ones did. There is a long tradition. For what? For liberation, for moksha. So that's the ancient seekers of liberation. There were other people who did all the stuff like we get today. We think we are so advanced and so progressive. It was more or less the same, in the old days. It's not everybody were working for liberation. There were some, those old ones. So he's saying, you follow their example. That's why he's saying, evam jnatva kritam karma purvairapi mumukshubhihi kuru karmaiva tasmatvam purvai purvataram kritam. Now you have already exemplars. You have a path which is clearly delineated for you to move towards. So having known thus what? That the Lord is not an agent, nor does the Lord hanker after the fruits of action, and that the Lord is the self of all. So having known thus, that do work, perform work, like your forefathers did it. Those forefathers who were bent on liberation. If you are not enlightened, perform work for self-purification, the purification of the mind, and then the rise of knowledge come by itself. If you are enlightened, keep on working. Why? Because that will do good to the world. It's called loka sangraha. Keep on doing work. Being religious is being very active. People complain, these guys have become monks. So nice. They're taking it easy. They don't have any cares or worries. They are free from all. But we do work. We are free from many cares and worries. That's true. But we are more active than what we were before we became monks. And you find that this work is a kind of a tremendous or a powerful tool in our hands. You either bind yourself through karma by saying, this is mine, or you free yourself through that very karma by saying, this belongs to the Lord. And the Lord, who is free from the sense of agency, who is free from any kind of hankering, that Lord which is myself. So I actually am that. In reality, actions do not taint me. I am not an agent. So what is this? Who runs this body? Well, who runs this body? The body runs by itself. There is a sense of I that runs the body, asmita. But the divinity cannot be material. Even the sense of asmita, this I, falls in the category of nature, prakriti. The Purusha, the divinity, falls beyond all categories of nature. Mind, intelligence, ego, then your sense organs, all these things that you see around are the modifications of nature. Divinity is beyond all categories. Once you understand this, oh, I'm beyond all the categories of the mind, of the sense of I and intelligence and everything. Sri Ramakrishna gives an example of we dress vegetables and we put them in the kind of a vessel to boil them. And the vessel is hot and the water is hot and the pieces of chopped vegetable keeps on dancing up and down in that boiling water. If that vegetable, the chopped vegetable says, I'm moving about, the water will say, no, that's not true. That's because I am boiling, I am hot, so that's why you are moving. That heat is being transferred to you. The vessel will say, actually, that I am heated up and that heat is transferred to the water. So I'm the boss here. And the fire says, oh, you are kind of great karma yogis. Keep on working. I'm leaving. And if the fire is extinguished, everything is quiet. So that supreme consciousness, this higher consciousness, is that which impels everything indirectly. It is there, it is making everything work. So how do you remove that screen of the sense of I? I am the doer, I am the enjoyer. In Sanskrit it is called karta and bhokta. This is the characteristics of a bound soul. I am the doer, I am the experiencer. The Lord is free from this karta and bhokta, the doership and the experiencership. That's the reason why he's saying, having known thus that the Lord is of such a nature, duties, karma was performed even by the ancient seekers of liberation. This is what? Mumukshu moksham ichcha. Those who want to be free. Those who want to be free, what do they do? They keep working towards it. Suppose we just sit down quietly and don't. This is meant for the highest type of aspirants. Sit down quietly, still the mind, still the intellect, like a flame which is kept in a windless place. It's not whipped by any kind of draft of air or whatever. It's still. If you can make our mind and body and everything still like that, well, you don't need to work. But the moment there is a slight flicker in the flame, we need to work. And this is what is actually impelling us. So we need to work. It is a kind of a practice. This is what is called a spiritual practice. But if we do spiritual practice with the sense of, I gloat about my own spiritual practices, I'm glad about my own spiritual practices, I'm so puffed up by my own spiritual practices, which are just a little, today I meditated for 6 hours. Really. I remember a long time back. I was telling one Swami, where were you? I was in the meditation room. The whole evening? Yeah, I was feeling good. Yeah, the whole evening. Then he said, you have the whole night before you. Go and meditate some more. He saw that there was a kind of a self praise in the tone of my voice. So he cut me down to size. So, evam jnatva, by knowing thus, evam, thus, jnatva, by knowing, understanding, the Lord is this. Kritam karma purvairapi mumukshubhi. Those seekers of liberation worked towards, performed duties. And now then he's saying, therefore you, O Arjuna, undertake karma. That like it was performed by the ancient sages, ancient seekers of liberation, these ancient ones. Because when you are doing something which has been tested, then you are on safe grounds. And if you want to chalk out a new path, you've got to be really, really, really great, spiritually great. And that is left for these incarnations and the other minor incarnates of divinity. They hew a new path to the divine according to time and place and circumstances. When you have a time-tested path which has been ferrying people, seekers of liberation, towards liberation, you're on safe ground. Follow that. Don't follow your own dictates of your, because the mind at times will fool you. It will say, oh yes, you meditate. And after you sit down to meditate, your mind is restless. As they say, it's a monkey mind. Then the monkey mind will say, I told you, you can't meditate. You get up. Get up from your seat. No, what will other people say? No, it's all right, get up. And then it will keep on saying. After a while, it's saying, why did you get up from that meditation seat? That's not authentic, that's not correct. You should go and sit down again. So again, you come and sit down for meditation, and again that mind will say, I told you, you can't meditate. So this is, why is this mind so delusive? Because we are used to its captivating talk. We have been listening to its chatter all the time. It has caught us. So what you do is, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to follow the dictates of those great ancient ones who went this way, and this is where I'm going to go. In the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, you get hundreds of examples. Like there were 3 thieves, and they caught a wayfarer, and they caught him, and the one thief said, let's kill him. Wow. Well, the other guy said, why do you want to kill the guy? We tie him up, some wild animal will eat him up. So good for the wild animal. So they tied the thief to the tree. And they left. After they had left, the third robber, the thief, comes and he unties that traveler, that wayfarer, takes him to the edge of the forest and said, this is the path you need to take, go. So this wayfarer was so pleased by his, you can say, actions. He said, you should come back to my house, come along with me. saying, no, I can't go there to the village because there is that police van. I will be caught. So the first thief who said, let's kill him, that is tamas. The second is saying, you don't need to kill him, we just tie him up. That's rajas. The guys are a little better than this tamas. So the tamasic people kill, eat, many destroy, break. This is the destructive element within all of us. And in society, you see, there are classes of people. They will keep on. Then there are the rajasic. And then the third thief is the sattvic thief. Sattva frees you. So when we keep on working, we rise from the tamas to the rajas, and from the rajas to the sattva. Sattva also has a limit. It cannot cross a particular boundary. It will lead you to that edge of that forest of delusion, and then it will melt back into it. And one has to now proceed. And when one proceeds, that is the path which is now opened up clearly, which is beyond nature. That is liberation. So it has to be done step by step. You need to see what quality is your work, what is the quality of your thoughts, what is the quality of your speech, what is the quality of your interactions, what is the quality of your life. If it is tamas, which in the Bhagavad Gita there's a long list of enumeration, the qualities of people who are tamasic. They like such and such food, particular food. They like to sleep and they're lazy, they're full of hate and anger. The long list of things. So you check yourself. And after you checking yourself, okay, now I've got to improve. How do I improve? Through karma, work. And as I keep on getting better and better and better, I rise up to rajas. And as I rise up to rajas, there is a hankering for power and pleasure and name and fame. But it is better than tamas. After a while, you keep on understanding yourself. This kind of hedonism, this running towards name and fame and wealth and all these things, that is not going to lead me to any place good. It might lead me to the grave. And in this Rajaguna, there's action and reaction. The reactions are powerful, actions are powerful, reactions are powerful. So we are kind of crushed between these two milling stones. So you get out of this. You check again the quality of your thoughts and actions and feelings and attitudes and everything. And you say, this is Rajas. Now, you start working again. You keep on working, of course. Working and then come to Sattva. Sattva is light and luminosity and peace and calmness, serenity. That's what we all want, isn't it? Go get it. It has to be done through karma and karma only. And as you establish in Sattva, slowly you are drawn towards the edge of Sattva, the highly purified form of Sattva, Sattva Shuddha. And then only you can transcend the bonds of nature. This nature is made out of three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, in all its permutations and combination. It's everywhere. It makes up our bodies and minds and everything. Whatever you see, touch, feel, everything is made up of these three triple forces. They are called the gunas of Prakriti. Another meaning of gunas is rope that ties you. You are tied by these three gunas. The individual soul is tied by these three to this world. You have to snap. And as you snap, you will attain to that state. Now the question comes, Okay, these were the practices of the ancients. Yes, it's tested. People have changed, circumstances have changed, society has changed, the world has changed. Within a circuit, of course, within limits. Everything is transforming within a given area. So Arjuna will say, has a kind of, as if putting a question. Tell me about something now. What karma? You instruct me. You've said, yeah, this is the way I work, the Lord's work. This is how the ancients worked. You tell me now what I ought to do. So the Lord says, Kim karma kimakarmeti kavayopyatra mohitaha tatte karma pravakshami yajnatva mokshase shubhat. Even the sages, kavaya, kavis, not poets, the intelligent ones, the sages, the rishis are called kavis. Even the rishis are confounded as to what is karma and what is non-karma. What is karma and what is akarma. I shall tell you of that karma by knowing which you will become free from evil. Evil means re-embodiment, the rebirth. That is evil. So even the sages, the intelligent ones, are confounded as to what action is and what is non-action, karma and akarma. I shall tell you of that action by karma, by knowing which you will become free. So here, it's the Lord is telling us, I'm going to tell you through which you're going to be free. Now, why is this? There's a distinction. Karma is karma. Yeah, but all karma cannot be classed as karma. You go and hit somebody or steal somebody and do all the rubbish things, that also is karma. Yeah, that is karma. But the results will also be like that. There are certain things which are encouraged, there are certain things which are discouraged. Everything that goes to form unity and stability is encouraged. Everything that goes to promote dissension and hate and spite and murder and everything, crime, that also is karma to them, but that is classed as non-action, akarma. So people give, arguments in favor of either one of these two. If you keep on breaking things and creating trouble for others, that karma is not going to lead you to liberation. Simple as that. If you go on helping people and becoming compassionate and loving, this karma will lead you to freedom. So do that. So this is karma. That which is sanctioned by the scriptures, that which is not sanctioned by the scriptures, not only sanctioned, it's not the scriptures that are supposed to tell you do this rightly. We have an ethical sense embedded in us. You don't need rules and regulation and commandments. You have 10 or 20 and 150 whatever commandments, and people have always been disobeying those laws or commandments. They've always been breaking those. That's a very strange thing. So they say, no, we follow the commandments of the Lord. How many commandments? We have 200. Oh yeah, good. You're following all of them? Sometimes, I can't follow so many of them. Your ethics, your morality does not depend on a book or somebody who has said that this is good and this is bad. You know it yourself. There is a sense of altruism within all of us. There's a sense of ethics within all of us. We know what is right, we know what is wrong. And we have suffered because of wrong actions, and we know it perfectly. And we have suffered, we have gained something because of good actions. We know exactly. Human beings are not fools, only they pretend to be fools. They pretend not to know. But we all know exactly what is good for us. We know exactly what is bad for us. We know exactly what is good for the world. Like Duryodhana is saying, I know what is dharma, but I can't follow it. I know what is adharma, but I cannot stay away from it. I know there is a knowledge. So our actions are important. If you know, you must do what you know to be right. That is what. You know this is wrong and you still do it. That is non-action, a karma. That's why he's saying, even the intelligent, the sages, are confounded as to what is karma and what is a karma. I shall tell you of that action, that karma, by knowing which you will become free from evil. That. So today's world, we need this kind of direction. And once we get it, we can work our way towards liberation. We stop here for today. We take the 17th verse next Thursday. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.